Hi, my name is Kevin Galloway. Many of you know who I am, others don't, because I am the most censored man on the planet. I'm the most censored man on the planet because I am the only one standing between you and the system. The globalist cabal that the Depop lobby represents, by which I mean the collusion of governments, organized religions, the military-industrial complex, and the UN system in the depopulation genocide. I stand between you and them since I uncovered the depopulation program back in 2011, exposed it fully, proved its existence, refused to be bought, warned and empowered people with life-saving knowledge, and discredited all governments, organized religions, and the UN system for their collusion in genocide. As such, I am the most feared, hated, and censored man in history, and the cabal wants me dead. I have been their primary target for the past 15 years and have survived 3 attempts on my life, have refused 3 multi-million dollar offers to buy my silence, and 2 multi-million dollar offers to become controlled opposition. The depopulation lobby, the cabal, has imprisoned me 9 times during the past 15 years, has bankrupted me, has separated me from my children for the past 15 years, and to this day refused to give me back my children, whom I have not seen in 15 years, has taken all my property and possessions away, has bankrupted me, has threatened my life too many times to count, has shut down all my attempts to seek compensation through national and international courts, and is now attempting to starve me to death by denying me employment and any source of income. The cabal had hoped to starve me to death before Donald Trump takes office and launches part 2 of the depopulation by vaccination genocide, Operation Stargate, which President Trump announced 3 days ago on the 22nd of January 2025. Part 1 of the depopulation by vaccination genocide was Operation Warp Speed, that President Trump announced 5 years ago on the 29th of April 2020. Both operations are fronts for the deployment of mRNA vaccines to sterilize the young, kill the old, and shorten lifespan in order to reduce the global population. But whereas Operation Warp Speed presented mRNA vaccines as the cure for COVID and the end of the pandemic, Operation Stargate presents mRNA vaccines as the cure for cancer by AI, which is a useless technology that hallucinates and that no one in their right mind would trust with their lives. Operation Stargate is to facilitate and accelerate the development of AI as a front for diagnosing non-existent cancers, to administer lethal mRNA depop vaccines to the old, the sick, the unemployed, and the dysfunctional in order to lower the old age burden and save governments and corporations from the crippling costs of pensions and medical care, and save society from economic, demographic, and social collapse by killing hundreds of millions of people throughout the developed world. The cabal knew that I would immediately see through their plan and exposed it, and tried everything they could to starve me to death before Trump's inauguration. They failed. But they have doubled their efforts to starve me to death because they know I am the only incorruptible person and the only one with a determination, staying power, and credibility to stop them and to force them to bring out the Depop program and transfer the responsibility for population control from governments to the people, which requires a transition from covert to overt methods of population control, and that cannot happen without full disclosure. I am forcing them to provide full disclosure and stop poisoning us and our children into sterility, ill health, a life beset with chronic disease, and an early death. I am forcing them to stop downgrading the intellectual and genetic endowment of mankind and annihilating our fundamental rights and liberties. I am forcing them to stop exploiting and manipulating us with lies and deception. When I took on this life and death struggle almost 16 years ago now against the entire global order, I knew I will have to operate entirely outside the system. To live outside the system, I would need the financial support of people around the world until the cabal falls and we, the people, regain control of the world, of our lives, of our health, and of our destinies. Like everyone else, I had hoped that Trump will keep his word and empower RFK Jr. to shut down the Depop program and make America and the world healthy again. Instead, Trump teamed up with Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, Stéphane Bancel, the CEO of Moderna, and other mass murderers from the cabal to continue the depopulation by vaccination genocide because he lacks the courage to tell people what they need to know, as that would result in the loss of his popularity and the loss of support from the MAGA movement. Instead, he tells people what they want to hear. This means that the war against the system continues, and I cannot carry out this war without your financial support. This war requires total dedication and 18 to 20-hour work days, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because the enemy doesn't sleep. I have recently concluded a 110-day-long hunger strike to show the world that every government on the planet and the entire international system is corrupt and bent on genocide. For 15 years, I have battled the forces of evil virtually alone, since all other well-known figures in civil society have either been bought or have become controlled opposition. Why? Because they all lack the courage to tell you that the only way we can save mankind from self-destruction is by legislating a population stabilization law with 3 components. Replacement level fertility, that is to say, no more than 2 children per woman. Required assisted dying, that is to say, mandatory euthanasia at age 75 without any exceptions, and optimal population levels for every country on earth. Otherwise, we will all starve to death and kill each other for the last drop of oil and the last loaf of bread within 30 years. This is not a message anyone wants to hear because it contradicts all religious norms and every existing constitution. That is why governments use covert methods and have staked everything on the lethal power of mRNA vaccines, which they present to us as the opposite of what they are. We are being told that they are lifesavers when in fact they are weapons of mass destruction. I have been the tip of the spear in the fight against this evil program since I uncovered and exposed it 15 years ago. And I continue to be the tip of the spear since I am the only person in the world who has provided a moral, legal, and compassionate alternative to global genocide by elites. Last but not least, I am the only person on the planet with the courage and decency to tell you what you need to know and not what you want to hear. If you do not support me financially, the cabal will starve me to death and you will be fully at their mercy, because all the people you think are heroes are wolves in sheep's clothing. And if I die, the cabal will continue to kill you and your children at will and to concentrate all wealth in the world in their pockets and put those of you who survive their Depop weapons in digital prisons 24 hours a day. I am the only one standing between you and them. It is time you stand behind me so we can send the forces of evil to hell once and for all. For that is where the cabal belongs. There are only 2 solutions to our existential problems. Either the cabal kills 95% of us and inherits the earth, or we assume command and control of the world, and reduce the global population to a sustainable level gradually by legislating a population stabilization law. If you want the first outcome, don't support me, but get ready to bury your loved ones and live in hell until you die or are condemned to live in a digital prison as a slave of the cabal for the rest of your life. If you want the second outcome, help me send the cabal to hell and take control of the world. There is no room for neutrality in this battle of good against evil. Either you are for good and help me, or you are for evil and bow to the cabal.